So many storylines heading into Arlington, but there can only be one lead story, and it's Ken Roczen. Atta baby, Kenneth, let's go! What a rad win with a massive whip to top it off from a guy that was obviously gonna get one of these, right? It looked like everything was there. Speed, the bike, mental side was on, just needed the right setting to piece it all together, and Glendale was it. He gelled perfectly with the track, smashed the heat race and the main, and now becomes the 5th winner in 6 races to start the season. Like AP's win in San Diego, when Kenny wins, everyone's happy. The crowd loses it, and his competitors are quick to ride over for a knuckle bump. Why is that? How did we get here with Kenny? It's actually one of the most ridiculous stories in the sport, with way more goalies than heights, which explains the fans' affection. Here's the Ken Roczen story, as tight as I can tell it. Kenny was the Jet, a young diet generational talent who did things way earlier than the rest. A world champ at 16, then an overnight sensation in the US pretty much from the moment he got here. Won the 450 Motocross Championship as a 20-year-old rookie, crushed it for a few years, switched to Honda, then won the first 2 rounds of the 2017 Supercross season. I remember thinking, uh-oh, just like I am with Jet. I actually called him the Whitney Houston of Supercross on my podcast, which was weird, but I had an analogy that made sense at the time, whatever. Then the Anaheim crash, the arm, the surgeries. It changed everything, honestly, and sometimes I wonder what the sport looks like if Ken doesn't get hurt that night. Does Dungey win that title? If so, how does it go down? Does Eli still break through that season and win 9 races? What does that 3-way title fight look like? What do Eli, Jason, and Coop's titles look like with a different Ken Roczen on the gate? Supercross history changed that night, but as doom and gloom as it was, lucky for us, he wasn't done. After being told he wouldn't be able to write his name with a pen, he actually came back and raced, then destroyed the other arm in Cooper Webb's back wheel. That was terrible. Still gives me nausea, but again, he came back, chipped away, then grabbed a huge emotional win at the 2020 St. Louis Supercross, completing one of the raddest comeback stories of all time. Wouldn't be able to write his name with a pen to winning a 450 main event? But then Kenny got kind of weird. The mystery sickness, unexplainable hot and cold swings, clickering his bike into madness, a bunch of little things that he wouldn't let us ignore. Goofy social media posts and comments, confusing interviews, a guy who seemed lost. I remember a press day conversation I had with him. No cameras or mics, just 2 dudes sitting on a tough block chatting, and he was not good. He was open and honest with me that day, and I became a forever fan. But he wasn't happy, but for some reason kept showing up. Then finally, he did what some people do when they've had enough. They walk. And that's what he did, but from Honda. Think about that. Factory Honda. He went on Bubba's World, then toured the world, rode every bike except the Cannondale, and decided to race for a factory-ish team that had a bike with a Kickstarter. Silly move from the outside looking in. Great move from the inside looking out. A welcoming family atmosphere, no factory pressure, bike freedom, and Larry frickin' Brooks on your side. A perfect situation, and it's brought us Kenny 3.0. The crowd cheers, and the riders respect him because they know what he went through, and they know how brutal this sport truly is. The fans dig a guy who can reinvent himself and bounce back from the depths, and Kenny has multiple times. Pretty simple. That's why the building rocks when he wins. So congrats, Ken Roczen, for proving yourself again. But now, go win the championship so I can finish riding your 30 for 30. 2 huge races coming for the 450 class, and this whole 17 points separating 7 riders thing will be over. Every year, at this point in the series, there is a fracture. A couple riders break through and begin their real championship run, and some get squeezed out, booted from the party. A week off to catch their breath, regroup and reassess, then the real fight begins. Jet Lawrence is your points leader and the only 2-time winner in the series, but he failed a big test in Glendale. Well, not a test, more like a pop quiz. A mid-pack start with a full 20 minutes to get it done? Everyone wants to see that because it all goes pretty dang smooth when he gets out front, but going through the whole field is different. He couldn't. not in Glendale, and he was just a jag last Saturday night. Second fastest in times, third in his heat race, third in the main with the fourth fastest lap. That's really good, but not great, and no one's complaining. We all know what's coming. I'm going to cherish these days where he doesn't have everything figured out, like how to get around Vince. He had absolutely no clue what to do, and I actually LOL'd a few times watching him scared for his life behind that menace. But a week off helps Team Lawrence. It gives their camp a chance to dissect and make things a little better, where Chase Sexton has to use his week off to heal. Chase sits second in points and is really lucky there's an off week. Last year, he was asked in a press conference if he was too big and bulky for Supercross. He said it's where he gets his durability, and he ain't wrong. That dude takes licks, but shows up, and that's what kept him in it last year. Think about it. A brutal 4-month schedule, he wore them all out for the championship last season. And now, just like 2023, he's banged up, but out there, and he'll look back in May and either say, wow, Glendale cost me the title, or Glendale saved me the title. That's what these nights are, a character check, a temperament test. Chase survived, which is not surprising, but he has to get right and quick because way too many guys are in this thing and trending up, like Aaron Plessinger, who runs third in points. Winning mains is insane, but you know what? Heat race wins are really tough too, and the dude is stacking them. I can't pinpoint the blame for the main event crash, but my guess is he was going for it. Got caught up in the moment, pushed a little past the limit, and took a dirt sample instead of an easy podium. It's a new world up front with the big dogs for Aaron. I like the all-in mentality, but you gotta take the points some nights, especially when you are really in this thing like he is. AP has 3 former champs behind him in points, including one that is gonna be extra grumpy the next 2 weeks. Coop got smoked in Glendale. I told you he would. His worst tracks are fast, easy, dry ones because he ain't Sendy. But regardless of the whooping, I think he's the favorite for Arlington. He ain't the type to have 2 bad races, then just give up and fade away. He's way too stubborn, and he rips on these small, soft tracks. Remember the tightest finish in Supercross history? He's never actually won Daytona, but he's always close. So it all lines up for me. Spidey senses say he's mad, back's against the wall, chip on shoulder, and he doesn't even have to make up a reason. Jason Anderson runs 5th in points and is so easy to diagnose, it's silly. Jason is most dangerous when he's quiet. Think about Glendale. Great night, solid, fast, lonely, but stacked the points. That was 2018 Ombre, his championship season. That's the formula he has to have to win this thing because truth is he's kind of a magnet and those altercations cost him points every year. Jason, do Glendale again. Copy paste, my man. And Kenny, copy paste for you too. He sits 15 points down in 6th, and if this is for real, like for real, he can shrink this deficit to nothing in 2 weeks. He's dangerous right now. I think he's mad too, not bitter, but good mad, foaming at the mouth thinking of Arlington mad because he is the best Supercross racer of all time to not win this title, and he knows that. Eli Tomac was solid in Glendale, and he knows that this run of races is where the championship breaks apart. It's the split between the real and the not for real. And for Eli, the Glendale main was promising, yes, but it wasn't beast mode. But he looked awake and comfortable. That's good. 17 points down. Mathematically, he's in it. But if there is a go time, it is now. The week off helps him get right. But up next is Arlington. Some riders have weird stadiums, and he's just goofy there. But I'm hanging on by a thread. It's Eli Tomac, the one guy who can flip the switch. Just podium Arlington. That's all. Then win Daytona, and he is in this thing. All right, this 250 West is an awesome championship. It sets up perfectly, and it's for a very obvious reason. You have 3 guys in this championship fight that you can attach yourself to for real reasons. RJ Hampshire's that gritty, never give up, just keep digging guy that we all can relate to because you want to see that guy win. You want to see a guy go through the struggles and the toughness and off the track, swapping, crashing, and then get it together and win. It's kind of that hero story, and we're all in on that. So that's RJ. Then you have Levi Kitchen, who is that new kind of getting into their prime, bursting out kind of guy. And we see it in the 250 class like every couple of years. There's the guy who year 3 or year 4 just breaks out. He's kind of that guy right now, and my interest is more in the story and how he got there. If you actually go and look at his Loretta Lynn's results from his amateur career, he has one of the weirdest timelines ever, and it's really intriguing, and it makes this whole story really, really cool. So that's the Kitchen story. Then you have Jordan Smith, like that redemption, crashed out of a title. You feel so gutted for the guy, just the depths of the depths, and now the highs of the highs. He's back in this, and we like that because it's redemption stories, and we all fall for that. They make movies about that, and we all go and buy tickets. That's how it works. So between the gritty Hampshire story, the emerging star and Kitchen story, and that redemption story of Jordan Smith, it's 3 really cool guys to root for. So they get a break. They'll all do their work. They'll come back swinging. We'll go to Dangerous Coast next, which is going to be obviously a lot of fun. But I love, love, love this 250 West Championship. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching the show. If you liked it, press the like button. And if you want to subscribe, then press the subscribe button. Share it with your friends, with your family, and grandma. Make sure you send it to grandma. Grandmas love everything Main Event Moto does. All you Motoheads out there, we are still rocking and rolling at Main Event Moto. You can go to patreon.com/Main Event Moto. We do 2 shows a week now, and both of them are live streamed. Patreon.com/Main Event Moto, and we will catch you on the next show.